What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dark Souls 2 walkthrough. So this episode is going to be somewhat of a, we'll call it a bridge episode, in that this is going to be focused on stuff that is specific to trophies. So for those of you who are looking to get all of the achievements, this is going to be an important episode because there are achievements related to getting every sorcery, every miracle, every pyromancy, and every hex. So we're going to be doing some cleanup in this episode to make sure that we're on track for getting all of those spells required for the trophies. So first things first, we're actually going to warp back to Sinner's Rise. We were here a long time ago, and this is where we fought the Lost Sinner. So the four bosses that you get a so-called Lord Soul from, that in those you would identify those bosses as being the bosses before the four primal bonfires in this game. So that would be the Lost Sinner, the Old Iron King, the Duke's Dear Freya, and the Rotten. These four bosses, if you fight them in New Game Plus, they give you a different soul that can be cashed in for a spell. And as you guessed it, these spells are all required for the trophies. So what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be leveling up the bonfires that these bosses are tied to with a bonfire ascetic. So this is something that I've talked about, but not something that we've yet done in this playthrough. So to do that, we're actually going to sit at the Sinner's Rise bonfire, and make sure you are sitting at this bonfire because the individual bosses are tied to specific bonfires. So if you use a bonfire ascetic, you could go to burn bonfire ascetic. Yes, you'll burn a bonfire ascetic. What it does is that it levels up this segment only. This segment that is tied to this individual bonfire, it levels it up to New Game Plus. So how you can tell that is if you go back to the fast travel screen at this bonfire, you'll see that the number here at the bottom, it used to, for every other bonfire at this point, unless you've used a bonfire ascetic somewhere else, every other number is a 1. You'll see now here this is a 2. And this represents that we're at bonfire intensity 2. So that means that all the enemies here, including the boss, are going to be slightly stronger than they were in base game. And so likewise, when we beat the game, when we go to New Game Plus, this actually will level up all of the bonfires in this game. So the remaining bonfires in the game will be leveled up to bonfire intensity 2 in New Game Plus. Well, this one, since we've already leveled it up with a bonfire ascetic, this one will actually be 3 in our next New Game cycle. So although the bonfire intensity will go all the way up to 99, I believe, if you just use that many bonfire ascetics, the actual difficulty is capped at 8. So if you go from 8 to 9 to 99, the difficulty doesn't actually get any harder, but yet you can still refresh the bosses and the enemies as many times as you'd like, even though they're not going to get any harder after 8. That's a little bit about how bonfire ascetics work. So since the Lost Sinner is going to give us an extra soul that we did not get in base New Game and New Game Plus, we leveled up this bonfire that this boss is attached to. And so we're going to go fight her again. I want to go all the way down here to the elevator. I'm going to go on and get these enemies because they're going to be after me when I'm trying to pull the elevator up. So let's go on and take them out. And a little bit else about a New Game Plus, and that includes if you've leveled up a bonfire to a higher level, is that in anything above base New Game, you're going to see additional red phantoms that did not exist in the base game. And that includes in some boss fights as well. So the Lost Sinner being one of those boss fights, I should say, where the higher intensity, anything higher than 1, actually 2 red phantoms are going to spawn in this fight next to the boss a bit after the fight actually starts. So it makes the fight way trickier than it would be otherwise, having 2 extra phantoms in there that are trying, in this case, they're pyromancers. They're going to be trying to fling fireballs at you and stuff. But we're also going to see that on our way to the boss, we're going to encounter some of those red phantoms. And that's just an additional, little piece that they added to New Game Plus to differentiate it from the base New Game cycle. You see we can summon Lucatil here. I'm not going to summon for this fight. We are pretty much just going to rush to the boss. I'm going to run past this Flexile Sentry, and we're going to turn to the left. And to the left, this is the first additional red phantom that did not exist in base New Game. It's an exploder enemy. Make sure you take it out because he's going to try to block your way from getting up here. And so we're going to go through. Another thing is the items in the metal chests do not respawn if you use a bonfire ascetic. But they will if you go to actual New Game Plus. But the pickups, individual pickups on the ground, if they're like on a corpse or something like that, many of those do respawn if you use a Bonfire Ascetic. Of course, the bosses respawn if you use a Bonfire Ascetic. And then these red phantoms are new. We want to get up through this door because we want to light up the boss room. I'm gonna kill the red phantom on each side first, and then use one single flame butterfly to light both sides. So you see this item down here tied to a corpse is respawned with the Bonfire Ascetic. But however, in metal chests, the metal chest items, the chest will stay open and will not get a new item in there if using a Bonfire Ascetic. But it will, again, the metal chests will refresh the items in actual New Game Plus after you beat the game and decide to go to your next playthrough. And some treasure chests in actual New Game Plus turn into mimics, where they were not a mimic in base New Game, but in New Game Plus, they're going to be a mimic. So that's another thing to watch out for. So there are definitely differences in base New Game and New Game Plus, whereas in most other Souls games, really the only difference is the boss difficulty and the enemy difficulty. And the amount of souls that you get for killing bosses and enemies is increased, commensurate with the increase in difficulty. So we've lit up the room. So in this case, I find that it is easiest just to focus on the boss, even when the phantoms spawn in. If you divide your attention, the Lost Sinner is very quick and she does a lot of damage, and so it's best just to keep your focus on her. But it does make the fight a lot more difficult, I'm not gonna lie. She's so fast, I probably should have used the Craftsman Hammer. I regret not using the Craftsman Hammer, actually. Yeah, see, she dodges away. My attacks are really slow. So these phantoms are definitely going to spawn in. And this is a stamina eater. I'm probably going to have to redo this boss fight. We'll see if I can pull it off. All right, well, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, there are the phantoms. And mainly they use fireballs, and they can be a nuisance, but if you ignore them, they generally do leave you alone. Okay. I mean, they don't leave you alone, but they're generally not too big of a problem. So it ended up actually working out. I just had to time my hits a little bit differently to get them to connect, but normally I would like to do this fight with the Craftsman Hammer. I just forgot to switch, because the Craftsman Hammer is much quicker, has a much quicker response time from, you know, when you press the attack button to when the attack actually lands. And since the Lost Sinner does tend to be quick, it makes it a bit easier to land hits. So from that, since we did kill her in New Game Plus, we now have the Old Witch Soul. Normally, we would just get a Soul of the Lost Sinner, which is what we got in base New Game. But since we beat her in New Game Plus, we get the Old Witch Soul, which is what we want. And this soul we can trade in to Strayed for a spell that is required for the trophy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill the 4 bosses first. I'm not going to go to Strayed after each one. So next we're going to go back to the Iron Keep. And we're going to level up that Bonfire with the Bonfire Ascetic. And we're going to fight the Old Iron King again. So back to the Iron Keep. We're going to go to this bonfire specifically. It has to be this bonfire because this is the bonfire that is attached to the boss. So the Bonfire Ascetics are very local. It is local to the individual bonfire that you decide to level up. So again, we're going to burn a Bonfire Ascetic, and this will take our bonfire intensity to 2. It will respawn the boss, and he will give us the special soul. It says, what is done cannot be undone. If you use a Bonfire Ascetic to level up the intensity, you cannot bring it back down. It is a one-way street. See, we got another red phantom down here. He gets out of the way if we go down the ladder. We're going to take him out so he doesn't bother us later. He's pretty quick. Attack too early there. He's got a hammer very similar to ours. Oh, geez. There we go. Good riddance. I want to say he's faster than the other turtle enemies because he Didn't have armor on the bottom. Maybe the other ones don't either, but I could be mistaken. This is a regular one. Yeah, this one definitely does. This one definitely does have armor on the bottom, but I believe you cannot pancake these ones, but they have much less health than the red phantoms. The red phantoms, and in many cases, do have way more health than their counterparts. All right, so we're gonna buff up before going into the boss room. In this one, I am intentionally using the big hammer and repair it first. Craftsman hammer will work just fine, but I think this hammer will be better for the boss fight. All right, so buff up. Remember to skip the cutscene if you've already buffed, because the cutscene does cut into your buff time. And also, well, you should buff after you get into the room anyways, because it does take some time for him to get up where you can actually hit him. So again, you have to dodge all of his slams and then hit his arms when they land on the ground. Fire attack, you got to roll through it, or if you're far enough away, you can just wait it out. Yep, roll after he slams his fists. And then that's what you want to hit when you have the opportunity. He can knock you off the platform, which is the big risk in this fight, is if he knocks you off, then you die instantly and you have to restart the fight. And this one has an AoE attached to it, to make sure you're a little bit further away when he slams, when he has the fire attack attached to it. He's doing fire again. Left himself open for a hit there, though. Roll through the fire. And this should be it. Except I almost rolled off the platform there. Thankfully, I did it. And that gets us the victory. All right. So we got the old Iron King Soul, another copy of that, and the old King Soul, which is new. And that's what we need for the spell. So next we're going to go to Seldora and fight the Duke's Dear Freya. This one is a little bit, I guess, more risky in that it is a long trek to the boss. But this is, in fact, the bonfire they have to level up the intensity for to level up the boss to get the new soul. All right. Perfect. So let us go to the Duke's Dear Freya. And you notice this red lizard respawned. Just gonna run right past it because it blows up and it'll knock you. It could kill you or knock you off the edge. And Bowman re-invades you over there. Just run past him. Run past everything. Not worth fighting everything again over there. You see, there's a new red phantom over here. This red phantom is actually an Easter egg. He kind of... Remember when I told you about bringing the pig over here to dig and to dig up the pickaxe? Well, he's using a pig shield with a pickaxe. He's attacking you with the pickaxe. And that's meant to be a hint to kind of describe to you, hey, okay, that sucked. I got stuck in the corner there. That's kind of meant to show you that if you bring a pig over there, he's got the pig shield on, to that spot, the pig will dig and get you the pickaxe. I would have made it had I not stopped to explain the whole pig thing, but oh well. I wanted to show that to you guys. I felt it was worthwhile. So here I'm just going to run through. I'll take up. This is a bad idea. Bad idea. I should not have done that. I'm probably going to die again. Wheel me past you. Thank you. All right, there we go. We're safe. And here I am going to use a torch to repel the spiders. And I'm going to use the same torch in the boss fight room to repel the spiders. I'll use an effigy to make myself human again. And I need to use the craftsman hammer because I can't one-hand this weapon with my stats. So craftsman hammer it is for this boss. And I'm actually not going to buff it because I don't want to take the torch off. The torch is more important to me than the buffs for this fight because there are so many spiders in the boss room that I don't want to pay attention to. I just want to ignore them completely. I want these spiders. If you take the torch off to buff before, those spiders will attack you also. Alright, Duke's Deer Freya, same fight as before. Yep, I walked right into that. That was awesome. Get out of the way. There we go. Already got him close to half health. Whenever he pulls back like that, you know he's about to charge forward. And that time I did not get out of the way. I'm going to get out of the way of his leg stomps here so I can heal up. Up, laser time. That's a good opportunity to go around to the other side. Oh, that still hit me. I was to the side. That was weird. Dodge at that time. He got me that time. And dead. So the main thing in New Game Plus is the bosses and enemies will have more HP, higher defense. But they do give you more souls. So we got the old Pale Drake soul in addition to the soul of the Duke's Deer Freya. And so that leaves us... Oh, the regular enemies got through. The fog gate's gone, so the regular enemies got through. They're trolling me. All right, he went back home. That's fine. All right, back to the bonfire. And now... I'm actually going to get rid of the bowman NPC here. Because we are going to be coming back here later. When we come back here later, I want it to be good and clean in terms of not having to fight an invader and whatnot when we come back. So I'm going to take out these enemies. I mean, these enemies are going to respawn, but the bowman invader will not. I'm taking these enemies out so they don't attack me while I'm trying to beat the bowman. You see the red phantom version of the spider has way more HP than the regular spiders do. Alright, so main thing is I'm just taking out bowmen here. So of course there are a ton of other enemies out here to worry about. Just waiting for him to spawn in. Just wait for him. There he is. Fortunately, he's pretty slow. Probably should take out these mages. Would be wise. Shugging my Estus. Almost got him. One more. All right, there we go. That way when we come back here, he's not going to bother me. Because we are going to come back here later and talk to Ornifex. But when I say later, I mean in a later episode. Okay, so next is the Rotten. So we're going to go down to Black Gulch, Hidden Chamber. And this is the bonfire that we're going to level up with an Ascetic. And I'm going to go on and use my buffs in here because, you know, the poison spitters are going to be trying to hit me and whatnot. So I'm just going to go on and buff here where it's safe. Even though that is going to cut into my buff time a little bit. I'd rather have it this way. All right. Hopefully avoid the poison or not. So I'm going to use some life gems right when I get in. Going straight for the triple. Generally, just do, yeah, I got caught in the fire. Just do one attack. Don't get greedy. I got stuck in the fire too, and that drained much of my HP, and then I was out of stamina. I couldn't roll through that attack. That was embarrassing. I think it's the popping the life gem that's throwing my mojo off. That's what I'm going to blame it on, at least. I just need to focus on the boss right when I walk in the room rather than popping a life gem. That's what I tell myself. We'll see if I'm right. No poison this time. All right, perfect. Definitely don't want to lose all those souls. Nope, I could have gone for the multiple hit there. I don't know why that only did 226. Come on, do something. Oh, got hit there. I'll heal. This is the boss that we farm in New Game Plus to get through the Shrine of Winter quicker, so we get our soul memory up. This is the boss that you farm to do that. I don't know why some of these hits are doing just absolutely abysmal damage. AoE. Caught me with no stamina there. Or to get the old dead one soul. And so a little bit of interesting factoids about these souls. The old witch soul, the old king soul, the old dead one soul, the old pale drake soul. This corresponds with the chaos witch in Dark Souls 1. This corresponds with Gwen in Dark Souls. This corresponds with Nito. And this corresponds with Seath. So these are the four Lord souls, so to speak, that we got in Dark Souls 1. Pretty interesting little tie back there. All right. So now here's the deal is we need to purchase a bunch of spells now. So we have a ton of souls from killing those 4 bosses. And so there are sorceries, miracles, pyromancies, and hexes that really can only be acquired by purchasing them from various NPCs. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to be buying a bunch of souls. We're pretty much going to be taking stock of all of our spells. So before we do that, I'm going to recap all the spells that you should have in your inventory if you've been following this walkthrough. And so starting off with sorceries, you should have Great Soul Arrow. We got that, and we found that was a pickup in the Forest of the Fallen Giants. Great Heavy Soul Arrow, that was a pickup in Earthen Peak. Heavy Homing Soul Arrow, we got from Strayed by turning in the Ruined Sentinel's Soul. Homing Soul Mass we got in the Shaded Woods near Grandal where you drop through the ground. Homing Crystal Soul Mass we got in the Shrine of Amana. Soul Spear we got in Huntsman's Copse. Soul Shower we got by trading in the Scorpionus Najka's Soul to Strayed. Soul Greatsword we got in Dranglaic Castle. Soul Vortex we got in the Majula Pit. It's when you go down the ladder and go up through that door that where you put in the Forgotten Key. We actually have another copy of that as well. But one of those was from the Forgotten Key door. Soul Bolt we get in Dranglaic Castle after the Looking Glass Knight. Soul Geysers in Aldia's Keep. Great Magic Weapon is in Black Gulch. Crystal Magic Weapon is in Dragon Shrine. Strong Magic Shield is in Dranglaic in the room with the Embedded. Hush we got in the Lost Bastille. We actually also got another copy of it somewhere else. Repair was in the Shaded Woods behind one of the Petrified Lions. Chameleon was in Harvest Valley. Unleash Magic was from Novlan's side quest and Aldia's Keep from giving him the Aged Feather. So you should have all of these sorceries if you followed through with the playthrough so far. As for miracles, we have fewer miracles than we do sorceries, but here's the ones that we do have. Heal, we actually purchased this one early in the game from the Hag Merchant. Great Heal, we actually got on the ground. It was a pickup just before getting to the gutter, all the way down the well. Emit Force we got from No Man's Wharf. Lightning Spear we got from Earthen Peak. Great Lightning Spear we got in the Forgotten Key door in the Pit and Majula. Great Magic Barrier we got in Aldia's Keep. And Sunlight Blade we got in Shrine of Amana. Sacred Oath is from trading Velstat's Soul into Strayed. And that's it for miracles that we have acquired so far. For Pyromancies, you should have a Fireball, which you picked up in No Man's Wharf. Great Fireball, which you picked up in the room in Seldora after we got the key from beating the boss. Firestorm we got from Dranglaic Castle. Fire Tempest we got from Shrine of Amana. Chaos Storm we got in the Iron Keep. It was the chest in the lava that you had to use Flash Sweat to get to. Combustion we got in the Huntsman's Copse. Great Combustion we got in Dranglaic Castle. Toxic Mist we got from trading in the Royal Rat Vanguard Soul to Strayed. Acid Surge you should have from trading the Royal Rat Authority Soul to Strayed. Forbidden Sun. Let's see. Forbidden Sun we get from Novlan's Quest from trading in the Sunset Staff. Flash Sweat we purchased from Rosabeth, the girl they have to give the clothes to. Iron Flesh, we actually purchased that from Rosabeth. I purchased that one on accident when I was trying to get Iron Flesh, but we're going to go over the pyromancies that she sells anyway. So if you don't have it now, you can pick it up at that point. Immolation we got in a chest and Belfry Soul. Now for hexes that we've obtained so far, you should have Dark Fog we got from the gutter. Affinity is actually a spell that we are going to purchase from Strayed. Some of these spells you can get as random drops from enemies as RNG. It just so happens that I happened to get this as a random drop from an enemy. I believe it was one of the dogs outside of Aldia's Keep that dropped this one for me. But I'm going to show you where to pick it up as well. Where to purchase it, I should say. Dead, again, we bought from Chloanne. We did buy this to complete her side quest because we had to spend a certain amount of souls at her shop in order for us to give us a Twinkling Titanite. So I bought this from her in order to accomplish that. So if you followed my steps, you should have bought that from her as well. If not, Chloanne is right over there. You see her behind the Emerald Herald with the long hair. That's where you would buy this from if you don't have it already. Dark Weapon, we purchased this from Falcon. I purchased it because I was using it as part of my build to buff my weapon. And you purchase it from Falcon. Whisper of Despair, you get in the Grave of Saints. It's a pickup. Twisted Barricade, you get it from the Doors of Pharaohs. That was also a pickup. Scraps of Life, you pick up in the Black Gulch. Resonant Soul, we got part of as a reward for the Covenant, Grandal's Covenant, when we were doing the Dark Lurker side quest. Same for Great Resonant Soul. That's what you get for leveling it up to rank 2 from the Dark Lurker side quest. And then Climax is what you get it for leveling up to level 3 for the Dark Lurker side quest. So if you beat the Dark Lurker and if you talk to Grandal in between each dungeon that you did, you should have all 3 of these. If not, just go back and talk to him and he should be able to give them to you. Life Drain Patch. This is something that we got. We got that for turning in the Dark Lurker Soul to Strayed. So those are the spells that you should already have. And again, if you're going for the trophies, you need every single one of these sorceries, miracles, pyromancies, and hexes, all of them in the game in order to get the trophies if you're going for platinum. And that's what this episode is really geared towards covering. So the next step is we're gonna have to visit these NPCs and we're going to purchase the remaining ones that we need. This is not going to get us the trophies because there are some spells that are still tied to quest lines we have not done yet, some spells that are tied to covenants that we have not leveled up all the way yet, and some spells that can only be acquired through the DLC areas. So right now, what I'm seeking to do is to get all the spells that we can possibly get in the game before going into the DLC areas, which we're going to start in the next episode. So first things first, we are going to go to Carhillion. He is the NPC that we talked to at No Man's Wharf, and he is in Majula. So he should be in Majula for you too, especially if you have the trophy from recruiting all the NPCs to Majula that you can recruit. So this is him. We got to purchase some stuff from him. All the stuff that we're going to purchase is probably going to be about 200,000 souls, but if you just killed all 4 of these bosses like we just did, you should have way more than 200,000 souls, so more than enough to purchase everything that we're going to purchase here. So he sells soul arrows, and that's the spell that we need. You see here at the bottom where it says held 0, that means that we do not have this spell yet. Now this one, Great Soul Arrow, has held 1. We already have this one, so we don't need to purchase it again. So really all the ones we're worried about purchasing are the ones that say held 0 because we need at least 1 copy of each spell. So Soul Arrow, we're going to pick up because we need it. Heavy Soul Arrow, we're going to pick up because we need it. Same with, what's this one? Great Heavy, we already have. So Shockwave, we need to pick up. Soul Spear Barrage, we need to pick up. Magic Weapon, we need to get that one. And then Yearn as well. Those are all the spells we can purchase from Carhillion. The next batch of spells we're going to get are from Strayed. So Strayed sells sorceries, miracles, pyromancies, and hexes. So we're just going to get everything we need from him in one fell swoop. So we're going to travel to the Lost Bastille, go to Strayed Cell. And the first thing we're actually going to do is we're going to trade in those 4 new kind of Lord Souls that we got. We're going to trade those in for these spells. That's the first thing we're going to do here. So we're going to trade and pick up Crystal Soul Spear, which we get from the old Pale Drake Soul. Blinding Bolt, Old King from the Old King Soul. Flame Weapon from the Old Witch Soul. Repel. Actually, this is from the Giant Lord Soul that we killed in a previous episode. We had not yet bought this yet. We need it from the Giant Lord. From his soul that we killed in one of the memories with Bernhardt. Or Benhart. And then this is from the old Dead One Soul that we got from the Rotten Numbness. So pick all these up. Make sure you have all of these from the various boss souls. Now we're going to go to buy. So we're going to start with the sorceries. So from Strayed, we need Homing Soul Arrow. You see we have held 0. We already have Strong Magic Shield. We need Cast Light. So that's it for his sorceries. For miracles, we want to pick up Unveil. So we already have, well, I guess we don't already have Resplendent Light, but we're going to get it from a different NPC. And we do not have Unveil. We already have Sunlight Blade. So we're going to pick up Unveil. We are going to get Resplendent Light from a different NPC. You can pick it up from Strayed as well if you want, but I'm going to get it from somewhere else. We have to buy a bunch of other stuff from too. And then for Pyromancies, we need to pick up Lingering Flame. We also need to pick up Flame Swath. For Hexes, you need to pick up Dark Orb. Which if you're a Hexer, you should already have Dark Ore. But I'm not playing as a Hexer. Also need Dark Hail. And normally you'd need to pick up Affinity here. I got it luckily as a drop. But since it costs 11,500 souls, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up even though I already have it. Just because I know many of you guys are going to pick it up. And I got lucky to getting it as a drop. Dark Fog we already have. We already picked it up. We picked it up as a pickup in the gutter. All right, so that's all we need from Strayed.
Feeble, cursed one.
So now we're... Oh, it turns out we are going to go back to Ornifex in this episode. So I'm glad we already killed, what's his name? The Bowman. So we're going to go back to Seldora in this bonfire. I'm glad we already killed the Bowman. I thought we were going to go back to Ornifex till later, but we're going back to Ornifex right now, actually, so... Take these enemies out because they can follow you into Ornifex's room and cause problems. Oh, mercy. No, I want my flask. I was on my feather. I wanted my flask. All right, I need to make sure I get those souls back because, yeah. I was trying to heal and I was still on my feather. Take out these spiders first. I was hoping to pick up more hits with that spin attack, but sadly, it's not how it worked out for me. All right, I cannot die here. Holy smokes. Heal, 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 heal. Ooh, the panic there was real. He did the web attack and slowed me down. That was... Oh. Ah. My heart was pumping there. Yeah, getting to Ornifex is kind of a pain, sadly. Fortunately, those things don't have the range to actually hit her. All right. Jeez. Oh, there's another spider. So annoying. Make sure you don't hit Ornifex, by the way. All right, so from her, we're going to buy Fall Control. We already have these two. We're buying Fall Control.
Come back again if you find
Such a pain to get here. All right. So that is all that we need to buy for sorceries. So I'm going to mark all those off my list because we have them all. So for sorceries, what we have remaining, there are 2 that we're going to get in the DLC areas, and there's 1 that we have to get from leveling up the Bellkeeper Covenant, which is going to take a long time. I'm not going to lie. It is a long, tedious process, but it can be done online or offline. Next, we're going to be focusing on miracles. But for that, we're going to work back to Majula. Because Lycia, an NPC that we rescued, she was in Hyde's Tower. And then she came back. She operates the Rotunda to flip back and forth between Hyde's Tower and Huntsman's Copse. And because I want to be a real boy, I'm going to use a human effigy. So we're going to have a chat with her. Crushed eye stirs. Ignore that for now. We'll come back to that in just a bit. So for her, we need to purchase Med Heal. Make sure you just purchase 1. You get Great Heal Excerpt. We need to get replenishment. We need to get resplendent life. Caressing prayer. Force. We already have lightning spear. We need to get homeward. And guidance. That's all we need from her.
May the power of miracles be with you. Offer your...
Let me use a feather, and then we got to go to Cromwell the Pardoner next. And if you remember, he is in Seldora at the Chapel Threshold is where we want to go. And then here, we had to go up the wood ladder that sounds like it's a metal ladder. And from him, we have to buy Heavenly Thunder and Perseverance. Everything else should have at least one of.
We must know.
So warp out of here. And next, we're going to pay Falcon a visit. He's right outside the Huntsman's Copse. He's the guy that we got the, was it the sunset? It's called the Sunset Spear from. He's got a couple miracles for sale. Also has a bunch of hexes we're going to get as well.
The dark.
So he's got magic barrier. We need that. He's also got a few hexes we're going to pick up. So he's got resonant flesh and resonant weapon. Make sure you purchase those.
Come again, as you like.
And then unveil we already got from Strayed. So that does it for miracles. I'm just going to double check actually. I picked up unveil. I'm pretty sure I did. Yep, unveil right here. Already got that from Strayed. So that does it for miracles. So what we have left is actually, we have 2 from the DLC that we're going to get. We have 1 from a covenant. We got to get 30 sunlight medals to level up the sunlight covenant. And there are 2 miracles that you can only purchase in New Game Plus. And then there is 1 that's tied to a quest that we're actually going to do later in this episode. So now we are moving on to Pyromancies. One of the main NPCs that sells Pyromancies is Rosabeth. She's the girl in Majula that we gave the clothes to.
Hello again.
So buy whatever you need. I accidentally picked up Iron Flesh earlier. We bought Flash Sweat to get to items in Iron Keep that were in the lava. So if you don't have these 2, go ahead and pick them up now. But for now, we already have Fireball. We do need Fire Orb. We do need, we don't need Combustion, but we do need Poison Mist. So make sure also that you have Flash Sweat and Iron Flesh from her. Next, we're going to go to Titchigrin. He is the guy that he's like the leader of the Blood Covenant. We got to after fighting the chariot boss. The Executioner's Chariot. So we have to join his covenant for him to sell us stuff.
Oh, well, bye.
Make sure you join the Brotherhood of Blood.
Let's see.
And so from him, there's actually one other thing that we have to buy. Make sure you buy this. It's not a spell. It is a ring. Buy the Delicate String. This increases the chances of being invaded. This is going to be important for later when we're farming for the Bellkeeper's Covenant. So make sure you pick this up while we're at it. And then here, we can get Fire Whip, which is what we need. We already have Firestorm and Great Combustion. We need Fire Whip.
Come back soon.
And also make sure you get that ring. We're going to need it for later. I know it's expensive, but it is worth it. All right, so now we got to go back to the Undead Crypt. We got to talk to the guy, Agdane is his name. He's the guy that doesn't let you light a torch. So make sure you don't have a torch lit. Otherwise, you're going to piss him off and he's not going to talk to you and, you know, it won't go well for you. I'm going to point out on the way, there is an item that we're going to need later. And that item is in the chest up that ladder. So to get to that item, if you don't have it already, item I'm talking about is the crushed eye orb. Make sure you have that in your inventory. If you don't, drop down right here and then swing around, go up that ladder, open up the chest, and you should get it. We need that for later. Make sure you don't have a torch lit.
Human. Light. What?
And from him, we are going to buy warmth. We don't have soul appease, but we're going to get... Should we already have soul appease? Hold up. Now I'm all confused. Soul appease. Okay. Yep, we're going to get soul appease as well. There we go. Make sure you pick up soul appease as well if you don't already have it.
Farewell.
And I'm going to feather out of here. Okay. So lastly, we have to go to Grandal for Hexes. The best way to get to him is in Drangleic Castle. Go under Drangleic. And just to recap for Pyromancies before we move on. The remaining Pyromancies, we have 3 that we're going to get from the DLC, and we have 1 that you can only purchase in New Game Plus Plus. So you can't get that trophy till New Game Plus Plus for the Pyromancies. Can't get it from Miracles either because there are 2 of them in New Game Plus Plus. All right, so now we need to get Hexes from Grandal.
Fine. Now, yeah.
What we need from him? We need Darkstorm and Profound Still. Okay, and so for Hexes, all that we have left now for Hexes are 4 of them that you pick up in the DLC area. So once we get those 4 Hexes, the trophy should pop. Because we don't need any that are tied to Covenants. We don't need any that are tied to New Game Plus Plus. So that's perfect for us. All right, last but not least, I mentioned you needed that item, the cracked eye, whatever it's called. Crushed eye orb. And now is where we're going to use it. So make sure, before you do this, you bought everything that you need to buy from Lycia. So it wouldn't hurt to double check. Make sure that all of her miracles have been purchased.
You must, what a...
So, yes to all of them. Okay, so what happens if we use the crushed eye orb as we invade her? She's actually not a good person. So we're going to invade her world. We're going to crush her.
Curses. Puzzle.
Mercilessly.
At least I can push you off guilt-free.
You should know the drill by now. And one more for the road. So for killing her, you get Soothing Sunlight. So make sure you do that. Needed for the trophy. So to recap, I'm going to go through every single thing that you should have. For sorceries, you should have Soul Arrow, Heavy Soul Arrow, Shockwave, Soul Spear Barrage, Magic Weapon, Yearn, Homing Soul Arrow, Cast Light, Fall Control. You should also have Heavy Homing Soul Arrow, Crystal Soul Spear, Soul Shower. You should have Great Soul Arrow, Great Heavy Soul Arrow, Homing Soul Mass, Homing Crystal Soul Mass, Soul Spear, Soul Greatsword, Soul Vortex, Soul Bolt, Soul Geyser, Great Magic Weapon, Crystal Magic Weapon, Strong Magic Shield, Hush, Repair, Chameleon, Unleash Magic. For miracles, you should have Heal, Soul Appease, Med Heal, Great Heal Excerpt, Replenishment, Resplendent Life, Caressing Prayer, Force, Homeward, Guidance, Heavenly Thunder, Perseverance, Magic Barrier, Unveil, Blinding Bolt, Sacred Oath, Great Heal, Emit Force, Lightning Spear, Great Lightning Spear, Great Magic Barrier, Sunlight Blade, and Soothing Sunlight, which you just got. Pyromancies, you should have Flash Sweat, Fire Orb, Poison Mist, Iron Flesh, Fire Whip, Lingering Flame, Fire Swatch, Warmth, Toxic Mist, Acid Surge, Flame Weapon, Fireball, Great Fireball, Firestorm, Fire Tempest, Chaos Storm, Combustion, Great Combustion, Immolation, and Forbidden Sun. For hexes, you should have Dead Again, Dark Weapon, Dark Orb, Dark Hail, Affinity, Dark Storm, Profound Still, Resonant Flesh, Resonant Weapon, Repel, Numbness, Life Drain Patch, Resonant Soul, Great Resonant Soul, Climax, Dark Fog, Whisper of Despair, Twisted Barricade, and Scraps of Life. If you have all of those, you are on track for the trophies. So I know that's a lot to keep track of. This platinum is not an easy one. It's a lot to keep track of to get this platinum. A lot of attention to detail, shall we say. So one last thing I'm going to do is to show you, if you want to farm Bonfire Ascetics, I'm going to show you how to do that. To do that, you're going to want to warp to Aldia's Keep. To the Foregarden. Unfortunately, this is not the bonfire that's tied to the boss of the area. It's just tied to the keep itself. And what you can do is, I'm going to show this to you real quick, is you want to go on and level this up. So burn one Bonfire Ascetic at this bonfire. And this does take a few minutes per run, but it'll net you one Bonfire Ascetic each time. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So unfortunately here, it's going to respawn this invader every time. Lucatiel's bro. And the invader being present means that you cannot use the feather to warp back to the bonfire, which is why it's a big deal that you have to kill this invader. Otherwise you won't be able to warp back. Now you could run back manually, but I don't know which would be slower. Actually killing him first or running all the way back to the bonfire when if you kill him you could just warp. Alright, so what we want to do is from the boss, or from the invader rather, I'm going to go up to the top. Consequently, it's also a way to farm human effigies. Now the thing is why I'm pointing this out is because in New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus, the quickest way to get souls to bump your soul memory up in order to get through the Shrine of Winter is to use Bonfire Ascetics on the Rotten. So we're going to need a lot of Bonfire Ascetics to do that. So you want to unfreeze this guy with a Fragrant Branch. Take him out once he finally unfreezes. And he gives you 2 Bonfire Ascetics. So now we can warp back to the bonfire. And if you level up the intensity again using a Bonfire Ascetic, you can kill him again for 2 more. So you use 1 to get 2. And as I said, this is going to take the difficulty up to the max for this specific area tied to this bonfire. However, also as I said, this is not the bonfire that's tied to the boss. So when we fight this boss again in New Game Plus, it's not going to be max intensity for the boss fight since the boss is not tied to this bonfire. So this is the best way to get yourself a bunch of Bonfire Ascetics. If you have a better way of doing it, feel free to comment, leave a comment, and that'll help, you know, it'll help me and anyone else who might be watching this video. But this is the best way that I know of a guaranteed way to do it. I mean, there are some enemies that might drop them, but it's RNG based. This is not RNG based at all. This guy up here. If I can get past here. So since he's unfrozen, he might wander off. But he should come back. Where he be? This one does not give you a Bonfire Ascetic, so it doesn't matter if you unfreeze him. Yeah, he can't, oh, you know what? You know what happened is I'm an idiot and I didn't use another Bonfire Ascetic. That's what happened. Now, as it turns out, this episode is going to be, I think, the longest one in this series. I didn't intend for it to be that way. But there's just a lot to cover, I guess. So I'm going to take out the invader. I wish I could attack earlier. Again, the reason why I'm taking out the invader is because you can't use the feather to warp back to the bonfire if you have an invader in your world. Alright, so now the guy should be back. We used a bonfire, but again, you use one to get two, so you net an additional Bonfire Ascetic each run. Oh, come on. Let me buy. Thank you. As I said, he can wander off, but he should be in the vicinity. There he is. He's coming back to me. Come on. Up here, buddy. Up here. Give me your Bonfire Ascetics, please. Thank you. There we go. Now we can use a feather to get back. And that is that. So, because these souls I got, this is not part of the main quest. A lot of people probably skip this episode if they don't want the platinum trophy. So I don't want to benefit from these souls and make myself like ridiculously more powerful. So I am going to sacrifice these souls. I suggest you use them, but I don't want people that, you know, skipped over this episode to be significantly less powerful because they decided not to do this stuff that they don't care about if they don't care about the trophies. So I'm going to kiss them goodbye and we're going to start fresh next time. It's all good. All right, guys. Well, as I said, that's going to do it for this episode. Really appreciate y'all. Hope this helps in your journey to the Platinum Trophy, should that be what you desire. And as always, we'll catch you next time. Really appreciate you guys. And take care.